Welcome to Giant Radio, where we're all about big ideas in sales and marketing and eye-popping discussions with successful entrepreneurs. Turn up the volume and settle in. Now, here's the founder of Giant Jacks Media and your host, Paul Hitchcock.
Hi, everybody. This is Paul Hitchcock. I'm the founder and president of Giant Jacks Media. We help others to grow and nurture their businesses. This is Giant TV, and it is my way of giving back to the people I'm connected with by having them on my show, and also giving back to you, all the listeners, because I have very dynamic people doing great work on the show, and certainly Melissa is one of them. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we were just comparing headphones before we got on the show. Right, we both have them. Whose is better? I love it. Okay, well, I just want to jump into this because you and I were chatting a bit before we got started, and you're just doing some really great things. First of all, you're a founder of, I want to get this right, Reinvented, Leadership Reinvented, Leadership Reinvented,
Yep.
And executive coach, founding partner. And I thought it was so interesting. You work with your husband.
I do, yeah.
That's great. Well, tell us about the business and how you guys work out there.
So at Leadership Reinvented, we specialize in executive and leadership coaching, team dynamics training, and HR advisory. Our approach really is highly customized. We partner both with individuals and organizations to really understand their unique needs and goals. So we integrate various modalities in coaching through a mental health and business lens, drawing from like traditional business coaching and evidence-based practices like cognitive therapy. And depending on the situation, we might even leverage other psychology and science-backed tools such as mindfulness, breathwork, meditation, hypnotherapy, and other wellness modalities. And we're certified in several leadership group and talent assessments. And so this holistic approach that we take allows us really to identify strengths, uncover obstacles, pinpoint root causes that might be holding our clients back. And we're able to really look at our clients' unique situations and develop customized coaching or training programs to solve their specific circumstances and achieve their goals.
Well, that's very interesting. So I want to understand first, how do you divide responsibility between your husband? Who's doing what?
You know, I really try to, when we do an intake with a client, we really try to understand what their specific needs are. And we both have very different styles and even different ways of coaching. So we try to understand within the intake to see which one of us would be a better match and partner. If we're doing a training on site, typically we may do with both of us, pending what the topic is, the customized training, or if we do group dynamics, we also do that together. But if it's individual coaching, we really try to customize it based upon which one of us would be a better fit for the client and the client's needs.
Got it. And you said you're industry agnostic. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
So I work with all industries.
All industries. And all right. So you mentioned mental health. You go in there and you cover this area. And as you start talking about that, things pop up in my mind. Number one is that can be obviously a very sensitive topic, and I think fortunately over the recent years, it's become more acceptable to talk about that and be open about that, and people used to bury that. But my question to you is, in a business environment, how does that even happen, that somebody says we need help talking about the mental health within our company? Is that through HR services they're offering, or like how does that even come to be with such a sensitive topic?
Typically it is through HR or a leader within the organization. And it's not that we're going in to counsel individuals or leaders. It's more about using the techniques, the therapeutic techniques within mental health counseling to really help support the individuals. And oftentimes it's on the topic of, well, recently it's really been on the topic of stress. Stress has been so much within our environments. There's so much going on within society, all over the place. And in work environments too, they're just so complex that stress has really become a topic within work environments. And how do we manage stress and appropriately and work with our individuals to help them when they're feeling stressed and overwhelmed within the workplace?
Is it typical that HR departments have, as part of the platform, help for things like stress and grief and those things? I mean, is that part of what they're already doing?
Human resources usually does have, well, through benefits, usually there's EAP programs, which offer, usually most organizations have EAP programs, which offer free counseling or
Okay.
therapy for individuals that are having grief or, that need more support than the HR partner can offer. So most companies do have that within their benefits programs and packages.
So are you then, when you're reaching out or connecting initially, is it with the head of HR?
It's been both with direct leaders, so executives or VPs, and with HR.
Okay.
Mhm.
And do these companies that you start working with, are there already issues they have identified that are going on with, stress and other grief and other things that are impacting, the environment there, or is it you're helping to uncover those things and just introducing new services? What's that look like initially?
I mean, it's been both. So sometimes there's something going on with my team and I'm not sure, and we can go in and we can assess what's happening and then create a plan to support that. Oftentimes there is an awareness of, there's a team dynamic, maybe teams aren't working together, or there's been changes within teams. So you can work with team dynamics and helping the team to move from the various stages of, from forming all the way to performing. If it's on the topic of stress, usually they're hearing a lot of topics within employees coming to them with concerns around feeling overwhelmed, feeling, not handling maybe the topics within work, a lot of call outs. So they're hearing kind of the rumblings from employees and realizing that there might be additional support that can be offered.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So, on the non-stress side of what you do, when you say teams aren't quite working together well, there's problems. What are those problems? The communication's horrible, or things aren't
I
getting,
don't.
what is it?
And I don't ever think anyone ever has intent with anything, but usually whenever teams are changing, so you might have a new member of a team, you might have a new leader, you might have changes within the team, you might be on a project. Anytime there's a new team forming, you have to go through different stages to really get to performing. And oftentimes it is just on building trust, it's on building communications, figuring out how we communicate together as a group and how we handle conflict effectively. Normally those aren't natural skills we all just bring into work situations. And sometimes groups need additional support in maneuvering through those different dynamics that come up with groups.
Interesting. Is there example of a company? Obviously, we don't need the name, but
Yeah, no names.
of a specific challenge they were dealing with that you went in there and handled.
Well, there's a company basically that had a new members of the team that had joined the team. And so you had a team that was existing and then new members that joined the team. And so really trying to figure out how do these teams work together to communicate and form a cohesive unit, because the former members were used to operating in a certain way and the new members had new ideas, different ways of wanting to do things and bringing things, when you start a new job, you have all these ideas that you want to change within the organization. So finding some common ground within those members, figuring out how do they want to communicate, how do they want to operate together, what are their own guidelines and boundaries and how they want to communicate, and doing different activities to start building trust and figuring out open ways of communicating with each other.
What does that initially look like when there's an agreement, like, okay, let's come together? Is it a series of meetings? Is it virtual? Is it in person? What does that interaction look like?
It's very flexible and the timeline really depends on the team. So it really does depend on what they're wanting to get accomplished. If it's, if you can go on site for like 1 day team building to kind of get through basic kind of team forming dynamics. It can be on site and it can be remote. It's optimally when it's on site, truly, because you can have more, personal interactions when you're on site, but it can be either really virtual or on site.
And you're in Jacksonville, Florida. Are you just focused on that specific area, or are you everywhere, anywhere?
We're everywhere. Yeah. We go everywhere.
And what motivates you, Melissa? Like, what do you really love doing? Is it the people interaction? Is it figuring out the, the processes behind the scenes? Like, what do you?
I really enjoy the process of coaching and individuals and helping support teams. I've been doing that through most of my career.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I love the most, really. And I've noticed the impact that happens when you can effectively coach someone. So I've not only been able to see the positive impact on the business results when you coach, but teams perform better and innovation improves and cultures improve. And I've seen this positive ripple effect that happens that just really, it inspires me. So when the workplace is operating optimally, that impacts so many people, and it impacts individuals both on the professional side, but also on the personal side. And that work to me just, I mean, it just fuels me.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
I get that. And you've had some impressive experience in your own work history as, a co-CEO, VP of Human Resources. Uh, you've done a lot here, and I imagine you've learned a lot, probably made, the mistakes that all leaders make and bring that to the equation. Is that a fair statement?
I feel like my work history has definitely given me all perspectives, right? I've been in the different roles, I've been a leader, I've done different, I've had different experiences. I would say I'm a continuous learner. I don't think I'll ever stop learning. And I think it's part of the process. And I think having another sounding board, having someone else to help through that process is always helpful. I've had coaches, I've had mentors throughout my life.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
that's what's helped me grow in my various roles, right? So yeah, I mean, I think it's always helpful to have other perspectives when you're growing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, we've all heard the saying that, the best athletes in the world have personal coaches. They got personal trainers, they got eating coaches, they need help.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we're all that way. Yeah, and having a sounding board like that, someone like you, your husband, your team, where probably they can be vulnerable, right? And bring some things to the table, especially the leaders who can't always do that with management. They can bring it to you and you can help correct it, is to me just fantastic. Where are you going from here? Next 3-5 years? Where's the business going?
Ideally, we would like to start doing, in the 5-year track, we'll say, we would like to start doing more like on-site retreats. So bringing organizations on-site to do integrative retreats with groups and leaders to incorporate, again, multiple different modalities. I think we learn well when we have experiential learning as adults. And so having like that multimodal experience, I think really helps to integrate the knowledge that you learn and sustain it for a longer period of time.
That's great. Well, I want to tell everybody that's listening that wherever you're watching this, because we simulcast this everywhere, LinkedIn and YouTube, X, I think goes out on Facebook, that Melissa's contact information will be around this live stream. And I highly encourage you to get connected. I was looking at some of your content, Melissa. You put out a lot of great content on LinkedIn. And if somebody wanted to learn more or something you said have sparked them, do you have an initial complimentary strategy session that you do? What does that look like?
We do free intakes. So anytime anyone has a question, honestly, I'm question, or they're interested, they're curious, they can always fill out and we could do a quick, it's a 45-minute intake process, whether it's for groups, whether it's for if they want an assessment done, HR advisory, or individual executive leadership as well.
Yeah.
We do 45-minute free consultation.
Okay, great. And they can get connected to that through your contact information, LinkedIn,
Exactly.
and all that.
And our website, yep.
Your website, fantastic. I got to say too, I'm going to leave with this because I'm the youngest of 4 boys. You told me you're the mom of 3 boys, and every time I tell somebody I have 4 boys, they say, "God bless your mother." So God bless you for having 3 boys.
They're wonderful boys. So I'm the one that's blessed there.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it. I know you and I will stay in touch.
Yes.
And really looking forward to tracking your progress. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you for having me.